been a long time since I've been up front. So let's start this with a little background. Joan Jones and Brian and Jim and me and Shirley were over in Cahutta, Georgia, and we helped start a little church over there in Adair County. This was in 1971, 1975, up to 1981. And the church was doing well. And we got the itches. We need to go to another dark county. So here we were over on the other side of Georgia. And we started driving to find a dark county. We drove up this way and we met Elder Scott, who was a returned missionary. And he wanted to have a church in a dark county. So we drove 160 miles round trip every week for over a year. We had our houses for sale, but it took time for them to sell. So when he started looking around, he found people from LJ that were going to church in LJ, but they lived here. People who were going to church in Murphy, but they lived here. And he asked them if they'd like to start a new church. And oh, they were so excited. So we started visiting with them. We joined them. We started giving out Bible studies. We would take a Bible study to the people. We would go the next week and pick it up and grade it, and go the next week and take them another one. This way we got to meet the people, and we knew everything that was going on in the county. But they also became acquainted with us. It was a really good way to get acquainted so that God was leading. We could see this. It took time for those houses to sell, but that didn't matter because we were working for the Lord and we were in a dark county. So the group got together and decided to rent the little church, Shepherd the Hills, and I don't know my directions, which way it is from here. With the little church that we pass, we decided to rent that for $100 a month. Oh, that was wonderful because we didn't have any utilities. So we went ahead and paid our church offerings like we always would if we had a church. And that money went into the building fund. We met there for 2.5 years. Our inaugural meeting, the one on the top, was November 5, 1988. We had attendance of 54, average of 27 a week. We met at prayer meeting in various homes. This week in this home, this week in this home, and that was nice too because we really got acquainted. The bottom picture is December 8, 1989, where we requested organization. And if you can see in that picture, you'll see Kyle holding a baby there in the front. Kyle's in the back. They're awfully hard to see, but you can see Mary Jones, you can see Thelma, you can see Shirley and I. You can pick out all the people that were there that day. March 13, 1990, Elder Gary, our president, turned our branch Sabbath school into a company. One of the members who lived across the highway from the church found out that this land was for sale. So now, May 23, 1990, we purchased 4.32 acres, very wooded land, $20,000. How did we get that money so soon? You want to hear a story? Back when we were visiting all over the county, we were following conference leads and doing Bible studies. We kept hearing one name over and over and over again, Dr. Harold Mitzelfeld. Anybody hear of him? In asking about this man, we found out he was a Seventh-day Adventist doctor who was giving his life for the people in this county. And he visited every home over and over and over again, whatever was wrong, day or night. And they loved that man. Somehow, he had found enough money to buy a very, very small building that became the first church in this area. But after some time, the good doctor became quite ill. There was a disease going in the county, and the people were all very sick. And he was working day and night. He wouldn't stop, and he suddenly died. The people have grieved over this man. And they begged him to rest, but he said no, he couldn't. He couldn't let the people down. So soon, the few people closed the church. When they closed the church, there was nothing anywhere. But no one was leading out because he was a kingpin. Elder Scott heard about that church as he was visiting, and he went to the conference. And he said, "What did you do with that money? Where did you put it?" They said, "We have it right here." And they gave it to Elder Scott for part of his church. Was God leading? Yes, he was. Now, on November 23, 1990, we purchased this acreage. But 10 days later, on June 2, we very excitedly had our first Sabbath school and church on this property down in the woods. And then we had potluck dinner on the new picnic tables down in the woods. God saw our need, and our house and Jones's house all sold. And so we were happily up here all the time. The clearing of the land started on August 9, 1991. Our funds were tight. We could not hire different construction people needed for it. But within our group, we had people of all trades. And they had the right job, had the right knowledge for the right job. Clearing of the land, do you know what that involves? The men do. They cut trees and trees and trees. The women do because they piled and piled brush and burned brush and burned brush. Men did the concrete work. We even had our regular concrete finishers within our group. And even the women helped in leveling that big slab, getting ready to pour it. And then men were skilled in the carpentry work, so that was all taken care of. And the women, again, stained and painted. Our district pastor, Elder Mitch Hazelkamp, coordinated the whole project. And he spent many hours helping with the construction. Again, we felt God's blessings, for we had very few mishaps. This was really total member involvement, wasn't it? The church facility was valued at $223,000. But because of all our volunteer labor, the actual cost was $133,000, of which $70,000 was given by this very small group. God was leading and he was guiding. We only had to borrow $37,000. On June 1, 1992, we signed a note that was to mature on June 1, 2004. The final payment of $1,251 was made on June 5, 1996. Now, are you keeping track of the dates? The final payment was made 4 years to the day since the church opened, and 8 years before it was due. Again, how we praise God. For we opened the church June 6, 1992 with 154 attending. That day, we were officially organized into a church with 28 charter members. And of the 28, only 12 are still alive. Carrie Harold, Elder Scott's daughter and grandson Dale, live in Utah. Willie Hosky lives up in the East Coast somewhere. Kyle Walker is here today. Brian and Joan Jones and daughter Christy live near Collegedale. Mary Jones attends the Blairsville Church, which is closer to her home. Thelma Rylea and daughter Annette attended the Murphy Church near their home. And then Shirley and I are the only ones still here. Our first year, we averaged 23 people a week, ranging from 8 to 27 attendees. Tithes and offerings paid to the conference for our 12 months was $114,800. Not bad. our few members. David Tanner and Cecil Owenby were our first baptisms in the new church. And they had been here all the time working before they were baptized. The first baby dedication in our church was March 27, 1993. Iris Riley had their first wedding in May of 1993. And sadly, our first funeral was for Catherine Scott, Elder Scott's wife, March 31, 1996, just before we opened the church after 59 years of marriage. July 27, 1996, our church was dedicated debt-free. Besides the dedication that day, we burned the mortgage. Membership stood at 51 persons, and 9 people had been baptized since our opening in 1992, 4 years. Our members were very interested in ministry, and God blessed our efforts. There are many stories I could tell about all the gifts that were given to the church. Mirrors, tables, benches, bell tower, the organ, the piano, the hymnals, and I could go on and on. Do you see how much we all loved and still love this church with all of our hearts? We saw the membership was growing, so again, we started to build. Okay, I think we have another picture. No, I'm sorry, I did that, not your fault. We saw membership was growing, so again, we started to build. In 1999, a 20-foot extension was added to the length of the building. That addition has a Sabbath school classroom and a library. Did you know we have a library? A very fine library, and Chris Jenkins is the librarian. There are children's classrooms downstairs and a fully furnished office. And now we have moved a radio station here. Also that year, the Better Living Center with a full basement was built, all in 1 year. It houses our community services, which is very active. First floor, as most of you know, has a fully equipped kitchen and a nice room for fellowship meetings. After many months of hard preparation with God's blessings and with a sacrificial giving of many members, our long-time dream became a reality. For on November 26, 2003, our test broadcast went out on the air from a brand new radio station, WAQA LP at 94.5 FM. Were you even aware that we had a radio station? It began broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The station is an affiliate of Three Angels Broadcasting in West Frankfort, Illinois, but that is located downstairs. In 1993 and 94, the church board decided we needed to follow up again on interest cards. Not knowing our way around, we talked to many people and found that we as Seventh-day Adventists were confused with Jehovah's Witnesses. And they felt that we didn't believe in Jesus. So as the Joneses and Petrys were brainstorming again one evening, we kept coming up with a very big question. How do you get them to understand? How do you get them up the hill? We needed some way to show them. Finally, Joan Jones suggested a nativity. And we went to Elder Scott, and he said, that sounded good. And the members were excited because everybody could be involved. Now it was fall, 1994 already. We had to hurry. We needed a few scenes that must be live, but no real activity. We wanted a climax with the manger scene and baby Jesus. This would show them exactly what we believed. Our church was quite small, but everyone was interested in ministry. Total member involvement again. And we needed live animals, goats, sheep, donkeys. We needed to rent a camel. We had to have costumes for the shepherds, Mary and Joseph, and the kings. So different of the people went to the farmers and asked for loans of animals, and they were very willing to share. And carefully and prayerfully, literature was chosen to pass out to everyone. Because literature is a far-reaching ministry, and that goes home with them. Ministry, this was something all of us could do. Yes, it involved sacrifice, but we were happy to be involved. Many felt they could not give Bible studies, and they could not go door to door. But we were in our church, we're involved in this giving out of literature because we were helping with the nativity. And they were sacrificing a little tiny bit of their time before and during the Christmas night. This time of the year was to honor Jesus, who sacrificed so much for us. And the time that we helped with the nativity was a very small part of our Christmas activities. We all knew this activity must be covered in prayer. We were talking about being covered in prayer for the evangelistic meetings. Okay, we got together and said, every member, what night do you want to cover? 22nd, 23rd, 24th, or 25th. And they chose nights. So that the whole thing was covered by many people every night. The community knew who we were and what we believed. As the years went by, more and more scenes were added, and the people could enjoy the whole story, from the taxation of Mary and Joseph, to the no room at the inn, to the manger, to the second coming. No room. And that's Mary and Joseph, David and Shirley Tanner. Anita prepared the beautiful design scrolls that sat by each scene, and they had Bible texts to complement the scene. And now people knew that we believed in Jesus because they even saw the second coming. God was blessing. The first 5 years, it was 4 nights, 22, 23, 24, and 25. We saw 2,739 cars in 5 nights. We also put in literature into 11,305 people's hands. Was that ministry? We had not expected donations. There was no charge. But we received $2,422 and one gift of $500. As Carol or the pastor would speak to the people in their cars on their way out and give them the literature, people told them this is the way, because they wanted their Christmas to begin every year. And they found people that were coming from many of the states around us just to come to the nativity, to show the children Christmas. Okay, one more. Also, and very importantly during this time, our church was beginning to discuss the possibility of enlarging again. But Dr. Gordon Hughes reached out to our board and suggested that maybe instead of enlarging again, we should spread out to another county. We shook him up on the suggestion, and with money and people, we helped start the Blairsville Church, another dark county. Isn't that wonderful? The conference asked one of our members, retired Pastor Louis Stout, to shepherd the group, and soon a building program began there. Several of our members who lived over that way quickly joined that group. This was a very long time dream of several of those people in that area to have a church in Union County. And now 2 counties are not dark anymore. Members has doubled here. We have 118 members now. And we say, to God be the glory for all the blessings that he's bestowed on us and on our church. Now, Ronnie and Ashley came here 24 years ago, and I think the Saunders came here 24 years ago. But we were praying for children. We had one little grandmother bringing her grandson. That was all the children we had. And we were praying, really praying. Well, Ronnie and Ashley fixed that because we soon had 3 little boys. And then the Tanners helped, and they had a little boy. And today, these boys are helping. Micah's working back there with the pictures. Nicholas is speaking. Joshua was up here playing. Thank the Lord for what he's done. And thank the Lord and pray for what he will do for us.